right. Now, I appreciate those that are coming here. Please hit the like button. People like to come in and a little bit late, but we're gonna get it going, y'all. I appreciate you guys coming through. We have a legend in the building. Good Lord. I don't know how else I can describe it, but this brother right here is one of the most solid brothers I ever heard on YouTube. We call him Pharaoh Says That. I think we crossed paths out here in LA a few times in the 90s, from what I've been hearing. I might have one of his hats. I might bring it out. um, but anyhow, man, if you want to really get to know this brother and get to know all the things that he's talking about, you want to go into the description box and click on all the links that are available, whether it's Facebook, whether it's YouTube. But man, if you're missing out on this wisdom, you have no excuse. We're going to bring him up here and, you know, get it going. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have one of the great ones. Pharaoh Says That. How's it going, good brother?
Things going good, brother. How you doing?
All right, all right. I could complain, but I won't. Okay. Um, yeah, could you introduce yourself and let us know what you do and so people get an understanding because I don't want to put words in your mouth because you're the best representative of yourself.
Oh, my name is Pharaoh. First name, middle name Ramesses, last name Elaton. I'm an entrepreneur. I got a few businesses. I work for myself. And that's pretty much it. I'm on YouTube under Pharaoh Said That. Just on there, just speaking, uh, just for the sake of recording my thoughts for future generations.
Okay. And again, I'm going to be reminding you guys to hit that like button. And I really hope you guys come in a little earlier and don't wait to the last minute because, when I have guests like this, he's putting his valuable time for us. And of course, I'm going to honor him, with the image that you see here on the left. Um, so, anyhow, we're going to start off with your journey to consciousness because we hear you talk about that quite a bit on your channel. And I'm still inspired every time I hear it. Could you give us a little bit of background on how'd you get from point A to point B as far as your journey to consciousness?
Um, well, a lot of it have to do with my time period when I was born. I was born in 1958. And so being born in 1958, by the time you get to 1962, 63, I'm 5 years old. So this is during the Black is Beautiful and Black Power era. And children are very impressionable from birth to like 7 or 8 years old. And so my early childhood, a part of Black culture was, Black is beautiful, Black power. And growing up in grade school, it was the Black Power era, Afro, Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud, Soul Brother, and that whole thing. That era sparked a lot of people like your Gil Scott Herons, your last poets, who were around by the time I got to high school. So now when I get to high school in 72 through 76, I'm getting the influence from the older brothers that was influenced from the UEP Newtons, the Fred Hamptons, the Malcolm X's, the Marcus Garveys. So that influence, that Black influence always been there. But I don't consider that consciousness because I consider consciousness a holistic approach.
Okay.
And so as far as me changing my slave name, doing that when I want to do that when I'm in my 20s, I'm 20 years old. By the time I was 20, 21 or 22, I had changed my slave name, wearing my natural hair, growing dreadlocks, going vegan. These type of things, I'm not really responsible for that. I was chosen, I was picked to do that because some people see that and they would see dreadlocks. Black people didn't know anything about dreadlocks in 78, 79. So some people would see dreadlocks and laugh at it and think it's ugly. And some people would see dreadlocks and think it's beautiful and inspiring. So
Hmm.
to be picked, uh, I was basically picked for this mission. That's why I was so open to everything. So I can't really claim responsibility for what I've been doing because it was a job I was picked for.
Okay, so Brother Pharaoh, could you explain? Could you go in a little bit on as far as being picked? Because I think the audience probably wouldn't even understand that concept.
Well, in the Bible and different books that talk about the chosen ones, being picked means that you were born for a certain mission. Uh, by the time I was living in the mountains in Hawaii, I was thinking about when I was young. This is how I came to that conclusion. When I was young, I was on the bus one day in Chicago, and I seen some brothers get on with the robes on and dreadlocks, and I thought they looked biblical and holy. But when I started growing my dreadlocks, a lot of people would laugh at me and make jokes and look at me crazy. So I was thinking to myself, well, why didn't it look funny to me? Why, when I seen people like that, why was it inspiring to me and why is it funny to others? And then when you think of it like that, I can't give myself no credit for being open to something. It has to be something already in you,
Hmm.
So that's what I mean by that. That had to be in me already because when I seen people with dreadlocks and stuff like that, I was too young to be able to really influence myself. I didn't even know what I was looking at.
Hmm.
It didn't look funny to me. It looked ancient. So I came with the conclusion I was picked.
Okay.
I had to be born like that. Couldn't give myself no credit for it because I was like that before I was even old enough to even design my frame of thought.
Okay. So now the other thing that got me is your inspirations. And I really wanted you to touch on that because, and for those people that are listening, and Brother Pharaoh, do you have a Cash App or anything that?
Yes, my cash app is the money sign Pharaoh Elaton, PharaohElaton.
ELATON?
ATO. Yeah, so it's PHA, capital Pharaoh. You always spell Pharaoh with Ra in it, and then L, capital EL, and then capital ATON, a time.
Okay. So I'm doing this as I speak since I don't have a secretary.
Okay.
So I'm doing this on my own.
Yeah, do get it how you live.
Yes, sir. So I'm putting this up here, and I'm going to be circulating this every now and then, or I think I'm gonna pin it up, so when people come in, they'll be able to see it.
All right, cool.
So for those people that's coming in, please hit the like button, and also please hit Brother Pharaoh's Cash App. He's being here. Just as a good brother, man, I really appreciate this, and I hope people, because you know that I'm a teacher, and I'm always I mean, your messages. I'm like, man, how can I get this dude in my classroom?
Yeah,
This is deep, man.
it could happen.
Yeah, this is deep and quite an honor. Um, so the next one is okay. We're going into the inspiration part. So I mentioned, I believe you mentioned like Sun Ra and things of that nature, and people don't even understand the depthness of how Sun Ra inspired hell. Parliament Funkadelic to African Bambaataa,
Right.
Earth, Wind, and Fire. All those kind of things, and I'm like, wow, this even touched this brother's life too. So I know you want to get more into Sun Ra, but that's one thing that I picked up from. But is anything that you want to let us know as far as your inspiration or how you got to where you got to?
Yeah, well, the big turning point, like I said, I was already raised in it. And when I got out of high school, I started working at a book factory. And
Mm,
at the book factory, one day we was printing a book by Dick Gregory. And so I grabbed Dick Gregory's book. It was about how to eat vegetarian book. And I grabbed that booklet. But after 1 year at the factory, I went to music college. And when I went to Vandercook College of Music, I went to, learn classical music. I was going to be a music teacher. And I was going to school with this brother. And the brother, I didn't even know his name at that time, but I used to hang out with him a lot. He used to wear a thing on his head. He was way out looking, but something about him, he was real nice. He was an older black brother. So I used to eat lunch and stuff with him. Well, to make a long story short, I end up going back into the work field. And one day when I took a day off work, I went to what we call Bongo Beach here in Chicago. And I ran into the brother. And when I ran into the brother, I was out there with him. I seen a brother with some dreadlocks. I'm like, man, how did he get his hair like that? Because black people didn't know anything about dreadlocks in '79. And he says, oh, it grow natural. And he said, I got some. Well, anyway, he became like my first teacher. His name is Pita Elaton. And
hmm
he, they were older, and he was the one that introduced me to Sun Ra because he was already well familiar with Sun Ra. He's an older brother from that era that was listening to Malcolm X tapes and stuff like that. So he was older than me. He was from the older Black conscious generation. And that was first teacher, Peter Elaton. And then he introduced me to Sun Ra. And then I went to see Sun Ra with my brethren Kepper. We would go see Sun Ra. And then I just naturally bonded with Sun Ra. So anytime Sun Ra would come to town, Peter would let me know he was in town. I would go see him. Then I would go back to his hotel room and just listening to him for hours and hours and hours. Go home like late at night, 12 or 1 at night. Go home, get up in the morning, go back to his hotel, listen to him, go to his shows, listen to him. So I spent a lot of time sitting around somebody just listening for hours.
wow,
We became kind of close.
that is so deep. To even have that kind of experience, to even talk to him in person.
Yeah, I was kind of aggressive. So I just I don't know how I ended up at his room. Uh, well, I know how I ended up because we're a comedic family, the Utans, and there's a lot of us. And it's a it's a family, it's a comedic family that's been doing this for a long time. So my elder Peter had the inside plug to them. When they would come to town, they would distinguish the difference between the regular fans and the brothers and sisters that was actually comedic.
Mm.
And so we were actually living the life. So therefore we were looked more, it was a more tighter bond. We wasn't just there to hear the music. We was really living the life.
Now, the big thing that I really got from one of your lives, and you guys please subscribe to Brother Pharaoh Says That channel. A lot of wisdom, a lot of gems. I'm quite sure some of the stuff, that he gets a little bit more raw and it goes to Patreon, like some of us. But the one that I got, me being an artist,
Hmm.
um, you mentioned that Sun Ra has told you that black people don't have enough images and statues.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of curious, like, did he mean like stop something from the days of old or things that we come up with from ourselves in today's time?
He would say all of it, that when you walk through the black community, you should see statues. You should see statues from Kemet. You should see statues from Ethiopia. You should see new modern statues. You should see statues of jazz musicians, R&B musicians. Sun Ra said that our independence comes only through mythology. And he said that all white civilizations are built on white mythology.
That is so deep.
like Romulus and Remus, and he said all this stuff is mythology. And until black people really embrace mythology, then we'll never really be, independent like that. Because he used to call himself the living myth.
Hmm.
Said that mythology, they look at it as if it's not believable, like it's something that's, like a dream. But he said, then you got reality. And he said that people been trying reality, black people been trying reality, and reality ain't working.
Hmm.
So he said it's time for us to try the myth.
Wow, that's
I know.
that's a whole what do you call it? That could be a class, brother Pharaoh.
I mean, he's saying this stuff to me. I'm so young. I really don't know what he's talking about because I'm only, 20, 21, 22. But this is why I tell a lot of people to watch me. Maybe you don't have to understand what these people are saying. Just remember it. Just remember it. Like, don't cast it out. Just remember what everybody says. Don't try to figure out if it's right or wrong. And then as you grow, you will begin to be able to analyze what they said. If you throw it out, you might not mature enough to really comprehend what they said. So I just remembered everything he said. I didn't really understand a lot of it. Some of it I did.
Man, okay. Well, I don't want to go too above everybody's head that are listening, but please hit the like button when you come in, share, subscribe to Brother Pharaoh's channel. Man, it's so deep. I might have to talk to my dean and see if I can get you a honorarium to have that lecture because I teach art history.
Yeah, that wouldn't be no problem.
Man, that's because I don't think people have that much of a conversation. We're always talking about, like you said, the establishment's figures and images, but not our own.
Right.
Or if it is our own, it's something that the establishment picked out for us.
Yeah, our neighborhood should reflect. If you go to a Mexican neighborhood, you know where you're at. You know it's Mexican.
Yeah, that's true.
So now when you come to our neighborhood, you should know it's black. You should see the jazz, you should see the R&B, you should see the hip hop, you should see the reggae, you should see the artifacts, you should see the colors.
Yeah. Let's see.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's because I'm definitely going to go into the music. A matter of fact, is that coming up? Well, yeah, but I. Yeah, and so when you talked about your musical background,
Mhm.
was the Sun Ra the beginning, or did you always have some kind of musical background?
I've always had a musical background. As a little child, my parents used to play records all the time, and my parents had a lot of 45s. And they had a record player in the basement, and they had a speaker in the living room. And I would be downstairs playing their music all the time. And when company would come over, they would tell me to go play the records because I had a natural feel to play what fits the audience. So I
Hmm.
had to play. I knew my grandmother's favorite songs. I knew my father's favorite songs. I knew my mother's favorite songs. So I wouldn't play what I would like. I would play what the visitors like, what the crowd like. And then I started buying records. Back in those days, you would go and buy 45s. And I wasn't like the average kid. I didn't buy a lot of bubble gum and candy. I bought baseball cards and records.
Hmm.
I would buy records all the time. And then one day I was at my friend's house and his father had a Booker T and the MG's album. I never bought an album before. And I ran home to my mother. I said, Mom, I want to get an album. I want to get an album. And she's like, boy, how much is that? I'm like, $5. She said, boy, I ain't got no $5. And I said, please, Mom, please. She said, okay, go wash my car. So I just went out there. I just threw the soap. I wanted the record so bad. I just threw the soap on there and half washed it. And my mother came out and said, wash it right. So I washed it. She gave me the money. I ran and I bought the album. And as you can see, all these albums behind me, from that, I just kept buying albums.
Mm.
Well, I also ended up playing trumpet. So, in grade school, they brought music into the school. So I played trumpet and that led me to eventually go to music college. So I pretty much play records. I'm also a musician. And I'm a DJ and a musician.
Mm. And we're talking Chicago, right?
Yeah, I'm a DJ and I'm a musician. I've been DJing parties since I was in high school.
Mm.
So in high
Now,
school, I DJ parties. I used to go to the old guys' parties. They would be like 24 and older. I'd try to dress in a tailor-made suit to get in. And when they would let me in, I would go and sit upstairs and I would watch DJ Ernie Green. I would take a notepad and a pen with me. And I would get there before the show, before the things start. And when Ernie Green would play his record, I would write down every record that he would play in the order that he played them in. Then I would go back and throw a party for the younger generation, for my people, and then I would play the records back in the order that DJ Ernie Green would play the records.
okay.
So I could get a feel on how to play, because it's an art to which record you play behind another record.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just put on any record. Everybody will go sit down. So that I wouldn't make a mistake, I copied the older adults. I would write down every record. He was the number one DJ in Chicago. Uh, um, Roy Ayers had the song "Brother Green," the Disco King. Who,
Yes.
brother? Yeah, DJ Ernie Green was the number one DJ in Chicago at the time, and so I would follow him to all his parties, and I would write down his playlist. And I would go play it back until I finally figured it out, and I didn't need to do that anymore.
So we're talking like the early '70s or
Yeah,
the late
yeah,
'70s.
yeah. We talking from with Ernie Green. We talking the mid '70s, 77, 6, 77, 78, like that.
Now you come from. I mean, if you talking about Chicago, we're looking at what Shaka Khan, Minnie Riperton,
Yeah, Shaka
Earth,
Khan,
Wind and Fire.
uh, Earth, Wind and Fire, and then a lot of the other artists went to school with my mother because she's from Alabama. So James Brown and Temptation, all them went to school with my parents, my mother.
Wow. So that means you coming up from musical royalty to inspire you to be great. Is that correct?
Yeah, because in those days everybody had bands. See, when I was a little kid in Chicago, you would go in the alley and people would be in garages practicing live bands.
Mm-hmm.
In those days we had talent shows and stuff like that. So it was common to see young black males with a band uh,
Right.
playing Tighten Up, do the Tighten Up, the doom, the doom, doom, doom.
I
We
got
would,
a funny story on that, Pharaoh. My aunt dated one of them,
yeah,
Archie Bell and the Drells.
yeah,
And
yeah,
she,
we
mhm.
would emulate them. We would emulate their songs and we would learn them.
Wow, that's I'm asking these questions so people will know because for some reason today's times, I think I think a lot of the young has really been I would say I can't say disconnected, but just not shown this lineage of great musicians and I mean the gods of music. We, I'm because I'm 50
Hmm.
and I'm raising all this stuff. And then when I'm hearing these young folks, when we talk about music, they pivot only to today's hip hop, but not into the musical greats that
Yeah,
played instruments.
yeah, it's always been like that though. When I was coming up, my mother and them, they only focused on their music. They didn't focus on my grandmother's music.
Uh huh.
Always been like that.
Okay.
And
So,
for a long time, the four top groups was James Brown first, Aretha Franklin, the Temptations, and the Supremes. They ran everything, and then Smokey Robinson and all of them was after that. But the big four was James Brown, Aretha Franklin, the Temptations, and the Supremes.
hmm,
And it stayed like that until the Jackson Five came out. The
hmm.
Jackson Five was the beginning of young people taking over music.
Yeah, I saw that,
When the
and I
Jackson
was
came out, they just blew everybody out the water because kids are more fanatic over music than adults.
yes, I saw.
So we was on the school bus going on field trips, talking about A, B, C, easy as one, two, three, because it was our age.
Right.
It was our age. So, we loved him. And because the Jackson Five was a family and all the brothers was different ages, they was able to get the little kids like Michael and Marlon, the bigger kids, Jermaine, the high school kids. So how could they lose?
Mm. And you know what's crazy about that? I talked about this last week about the five stair steps,
Hmm.
and I've read that I mean, because I wasn't around, I don't think I do is read, but I read that they turned down Motown, and then years later, the Jacksons took the same deal and ran with it.
Right. Yeah, they turned it down.
Wow.
Hmm.
Um, but we're going to get back to music, but I definitely want to get into this vegan lifestyle that you talk
Hmm.
about, because you take it a step further as far as what's killing us,
Right.
uh, based on what we're eating, and not only killing us, but is even controlling how we think, or you know, just in general. Can you give us a little background on the vegan lifestyle that keeps you going?
Well, uh, I first got into it, like I said, I was working at a book factory, and Dick Gregory had a book that I had got. Then when I went to music school, my teacher, Peter, I used to see him eating like trail mix and stuff like that. The first time I really became aware on eating is I worked at the book factory and I worked at night shift. And I had lunch at 3 in the morning. And so there was a food truck would be out there. And I went to the food truck and he didn't have my favorite sandwich.
Hmm.
So I got some potato chips and some orange juice. And I ate the potato chips, and I drank the orange juice, and I went back to work. And usually at 4:30 every night, I would hit a wall. I would get extremely tired. But for some reason, when I ate the potato chips and drank the orange juice, I did not get tired the rest of the night.
Hmm.
So I was confused because I'm like, well, I didn't eat anything. The way they taught us is I eat, I'm supposed to get strength. But I didn't eat much and I had more strength than when I did. So that I started to think about what Dick Gregory was saying. Well, because I worked at night and I was young, I was college age. In the day, I would go up to Circle Campus to the college and hang out with my buddy that I went to high school with. So I would get off work and go to the college. And I went up there and he said, Dick Gregory is speaking. So I went to see Dick Gregory, and he was the one that made me feel a little stupid. The way he was breaking things down, I felt like, well, I don't know this. You know, he was saying things like, when your mother cut potatoes, they turn brown. And if you don't soak them in water, and why can you get some French fries out the freezer? Why are they so white? Because they're bleached and all of that. And I'm like,
Hmm.
whoa.
Hmm. Yeah, that's deep.
Yeah, I'm like, whoa. So with my guru eating right and stuff, I just slowly just decided to stop eating meat.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, because and we lost, brother Pharaoh. We lost damn near all of our leaders in this thing we talked about. At least in health, holistic health. We lost Sabi, Tim Morrow, Dr. Goss, Dr. Layla Africa.
Hmm.
So all we have is their books. Um, any books that you recommend as far as how to at least get the starter kit going and look out for their health?
Yeah, and you go to www.veganintel.com and get the easiest way to become a vegan. Because I'm not really, what I do is I get people off of meat. And so with eating, it's just like anything else. You have to have grade school, middle school, high school, college, and grad school. And so I'm grade school. I'm not the person to teach you alkaline and all that. I'm the person to get you off of Cheetos, Doritos, bacon. I'm the ground level. And so I wrote a manual, which is for meat eaters to help them slowly cut away and clean it up. I have a slow process for going vegan. I don't think you should just go vegan quickly. I think you should take your time.
Okay, so this is the book that you created?
Yeah, it's a manual. It's called The Easiest Way to Become a Vegan. And you can get it at www.veganintel.com. Actually, it's the real way I became a vegan. And when I
Okay.
was doing my live streams, I kept telling people the method. And something came to me and said, well, I ain't going to keep repeating this. I need to write this down. So it's a method that I use, and I just wrote it down.
Okay. And for those people out there, I believe Will of the Most High has put the link. And plus, please share this live stream and hit the like button because most of the time, whenever I go on, it's night at the I call it night at the Apollo Pharaoh because there's always somebody that wants to go on at the same time, especially of us that share subscribers. So we, every now and then, whoever has the, I just say, hey, I'm bringing in stuff that you can play later on, play for your children,
Right,
uh, a learning lesson. I
right,
ain't trying to wear all kinds of glitter and stuff and do what do you call it, moonwalking.
right.
But and then please hit the Cash App button for Brother Pharaoh's Cash App. It's right there at the top. So now I was putting in the whole nice type stuff. Now I want you to go in. The real reason why why I brought you here because I like the way you go in on a
Mhm.
lot of topics. I mean, you really cut through a lot of BS.
Right.
I love that, man. And one of the things that I keep hearing, um, especially in political conversations, especially when it comes to black issues,
Hmm.
always this "what about Chicago" narrative.
Right.
And they've been saying this even though Chicago is not the top of the list as far as crime or what have you, but they're always picking on Chicago. Where do you think that's coming from? Why Chicago?
Because Chicago's only not at the top of the list because how big the city is, but Chicago is definitely the worst city in America.
Hmm.
Way they do the statistics, they do it based on size. So St. Louis is smaller, so they'll put them as the number one for murders. But
Hmm.
we had 800 murders last year.
Mm.
They don't have nowhere near that. So Chicago is the most violent city in America, no doubt.
Hmm.
It's just how it is. And Chicago's always been a gangster city from Al Capone, from the roaring
Okay.
from the roaring 20s. It's always been like that. And blacks in Chicago, we had to grow up under uh, the outfit, under the mob.
Yes.
So we grow up under the mob. We grow up under the numbers racket and prostitution and bootlegging. So of course we had to kind of be rough.
Okay. So that's going to be the go-to in political debates and things, correct?
Well, I mean, they talk about it, but most people don't understand the gang situation, the gang culture. So most people look at the gang culture and they apply it to the city. They don't understand that the gang culture comes out the jail and the penitentiary.
Hmm.
See, and that's where it comes from. It doesn't come from the city. It doesn't come from the streets. The gang culture is a penitentiary culture, and America has more people in penitentiary than any other country.
Mm. Okay. Now, from what we gathered out here in Los Angeles, there was always some kind of fear that if Stanley Tukey Williams got out, with a changed heart and a changed mind, he was supposed to be able to lead the young in a better direction versus what he did in the past.
Hmm.
Question out there in Chicago, because people, I mean, the name out there right now is Larry Hoover,
Right,
and also um, Jeff Fort,
right.
right? And according to how they were doing things, from what I gather, the little information I received, it just seemed like they were really trying to do something. They were trying to gradually get out of this situation to put everybody in a better situation, but yet it just seemed like all the odds were against them. If the
Right.
odds weren't against them, I mean, how do you think it would have turned out? Do you think they would have, you know, made some changes and got things on up and up, or do you think
They,
that
they would have got shot and killed.
okay, it was set by the usual stories we hear?
I mean, the gangs. I mean, you can't like the gangs is not a situation where you can go change nothing. Like the next guy coming up, he's not gonna listen to you.
Hmm.
Idea, that you can come and you can get because the gangs are set up in like neighborhoods. So you might be GDs, but the GDs is in a lot of different neighborhoods. And if I'm a GD in this neighborhood and I'm selling dope and I'm getting money, and a big GD say he want that to stop, I'm gonna be like, fuck, dude.
Hmm.
And he come over here, we're gonna kill him
Mm. Mm.
like that. I don't care nothing about what dude talk about. We get, you know what I'm saying?
So is that deep, huh? So there's and you got so many, right? You even got the Latin Kings, I believe.
Right? Because see, okay, let's say I want to go straighten out the gangs. I cannot straighten out the gangs. I have to kill people. Like a lot of people don't understand this. For me to go and any gang you name in Chicago, for me to fix that gang, I gotta threaten people and kill people. You can't talk them. They're not the talking type. So I gotta catch a RICO case to try to fix the community.
Damn.
And nobody wants to do that. No, you can't fix the gangs unless you're the gang yourself.
Wow. And
Like
you know what's
if
you
I
know what's
go and it's a
Mhm.
bunch of brothers, and I tell y'all can't run around here shooting no more. And one of the little guys say, "Fuck that, man! I gotta shoot him."
you know what's the craziest thing about that, brother Pharaoh? You just describe American politics.
Right?
I mean, just down to the T.
Basically,
Wow. And those people out there, you guys are getting a jewel here. You guys are getting some gems, some wisdom. Could you guys please hit brother Pharaoh's almost well? Can I call you? I can call you doctor every now and then. You're a doctor to me, but but please hit this brother's cash app and please hit the like button because that gets us more attraction. Because the stuff I put out for our people, YouTube ain't feeling that. So we gotta keep it. We gotta keep this going. But yeah, that's very powerful, brother Pharaoh. Because every now and then we can go around the whole country, and it's usually that kind of story.
the brother said it right on TV, like Gangland or one of them about the GDs.
Uh huh.
Brother said it right on there. He said if Larry tried to tell us something, they ain't listening to no Larry Hoover. Some
Yeah.
GDs. Well, right now we don't even have it like that no more. The young guys are what you call renegades.
Mm-hmm.
So in Chicago now we got renegades. So it's a group of brothers. They might be from 4 different gangs. They don't call it, they might be some GDs, some Blackstones, but they call themselves a little neighborhood uh, uh, name that they have for themselves. They're not really going by GD and Blackstone and that. Not to the shorties, they're not going by that no more.
Okay.
So if we you know uh dog killer crew, that's what we are. And anybody could be in dog killer crew.
Mm-hmm.
GDs, BDs, Blackstones could be dog killer crew. And we ain't
Mm-hmm.
listening to nobody. It's the young guys, they kill everybody, is what they say.
Man,
They ain't honoring nothing but their crew.
jeez.
So it's not like it used to be. Because you honor who bringing the money in and feeding y'all. So
Okay.
everybody working in your area feeding y'all, that's the big homie. Anybody
Okay.
that how I'm gonna take orders for somebody that ain't feeding me.
Wow. That kind of reminds me as well, and I'm not sure if it happens there, but I taught in a primarily blood territory,
Right,
right? This is the area where Suge and Harry O and all those people. That's his area, right?
right,
And me growing up though, usually the OGs were like, gray on their face every now and then, own the business or what
right,
have you. But when I was teaching that in that area in the late '90s, I'm talking to one of my ninth graders. He's saying my OG won't let me do this. My OG won't. And then I'm like, who is he? He pointed at him, it was one of my students that just graduated like that year.
Right.
I'm like, why are the OGs in their teens?
Because the real OGs gonna get a RICO case.
Okay.
So the real OGs, they ain't really active. They can't be active out there like that, or they going straight to prison.
Uh-huh.
So okay, if I got the dope,
Hmm.
I'm not in the area. If all the guys is like 18, 19, 20, 21, I'm dropping it off to somebody like 24. He calls it over there.
Okay.
He that calls it over there. I don't have no direct connection to them because they live there. I'm
Mm.
not gonna live in O Block. Like when I was in O Block, the guys that called it in O Block was younger. The OGs don't live there. They just drop out work and go. They're not really active
Okay.
because it means jail time. And the kids only gonna listen to somebody they grow up with. They're not gonna listen to you when you way older. They don't really know you. Like,
Okay. So it's more of an evolution versus just a shift. It was more of some type of growth and operation, so to speak.
yeah, it's based up. You grow up just like when we used to play baseball. We used to play baseball. The older boys would play with us and play baseball, but only up to a certain age.
Hmm.
Once they got to another age, they wasn't out there playing with us.
Right.
So if I'm in the fifth grade, there'll be somebody out there, sixth, seventh, eighth, maybe up to the eighth grade, maybe the ninth grade. But it wouldn't be no seniors in high school out there with us.
Right.
They're on doing other things. So you have older boys, but they're always 2 or 3 years older than you, typically.
Mm. So I'm gonna skip a few questions
Okay.
and then segue into you're talking about because you did quite a bit of commentary on how boys are being emasculated,
Right.
and I'm just basically I just pull it from you. How is
Mhm.
that happening in your opinion? What's your observation? What's going on with that?
When you put a lot of men in prison, you cause an imbalance.
Hmm.
When you put a lot of men, when you don't provide the jobs, when there's no jobs, men got to do crimes. They do crimes, they go to jail. Your sentence when you go to jail is 5 years with no woman, 10 years with no woman, 20 years with no woman.
Mm.
That also means 5 years with no man, 20 years without a daddy. So you can't be daddy, you can't be there. That causes an imbalance where women become the main voice of the community. Women are feminine and women like feminine things. So under women, men are going to become more feminine.
Hmm.
I'm going to be more feminine under my mother than under my father
Mm.
because it's a woman. She's not doing it on purpose. But I remember my mother used to buy me clothes. And say, I seen a guy wearing this and buy it to me. It would be some old sissy shit.
Uh-huh.
But she didn't look at it like that. She felt the guy looked cute. Well, she's a woman. So yeah, she thinks he looks cute in it. My father, on the other hand, said, Bessie, that boy can't wear that.
Right.
And so it's and intentionally doing, I'm saying the female is feminine. So she does not have what it takes to make men masculine. She doesn't have it. She's feminine. She can't see masculinity like that. She can't raise a boy to be masculine. How's she gonna do that? She can raise a girl how to be a woman. She can teach a man how to treat a woman, but she can't teach a man how to be a man.
Hmm.
Period. How could you teach me how to be a man? You don't know. You're not a man.
Now, I believe that this been going on for a while, like the late '60s, maybe '70s.
Yeah, but it got worse because the penitentiary increased over the 90s.
Hmm.
If we wasn't going to the penitentiary like that, there was still a lot of men out. There was still a lot of men around. It wasn't now it's totally worse than it's ever been. America never had this many people in the penitentiary. America's got more people in the penitentiary than some countries got people.
Now, on the flip side of that, brother Pharaoh, isn't the fact that a lot of us are in this penitentiary? A lot of corporations are making like hand over fist money off
Yeah,
of,
big money.
and I guess we're repeating this cycle of raising dysfunctional boys or just children in general and feeding them to the prison system.
Well, we're not feeding them to them. If I'm a company and I won't hire you, then you're gonna do crimes. Then you get locked up, and I make you work for me for free. So it's not our fault. We're being manipulated to
Hmm.
be able to get these jobs. And white people not gonna hire you; they're gonna hire white people. Why
Right.
would you? So anytime you have a white companies run America and all the jobs are mostly whites control the jobs, what make black people think they're ever gonna be able to get enough jobs? We ain't gonna never be able to get enough jobs unless black people create their own jobs. Black
Right.
people have to go corporate and have to start creating their own jobs and buying these gas stations and open these restaurants. And it's a shame we don't even have a car. Why don't black people have an automobile? Because we think small business and independent. We don't think corporate. Whereas white people think corporate. White people think job creation. Job creation. Black
Hmm.
people think job creation. We have to create jobs.
Hmm.
Or how are we going to eat?
Mm.
A beauty shop is not enough jobs.
Yeah. So because I come from the Dr. Amos Wilson School of Thought,
Right,
or even the Juwanza Kunjufu,
right,
to where you want to be able to raise your children to think big and want to take things on a grand, maybe in a global spectrum. So you want to depend on your white neighbors, but you want to go further out there, right?
right.
The We're having a lot of pushback as far as even taking those steps amongst our people, especially our growing boys and men. I think some of the women get it, but they're on some other stuff. Question to you is, what tools do you think that we need right now to improve black children's way of thinking and their upbringing? What tools you think we need at this time?
Well, we're not going to be able to change their thinking. We're going to have to, those of us that know, got to go, get together, start, get raise money, build a factory, make an automobile, then hire them. Hire them. I can't hire you when you get out of jail if I don't have a job. A lot of people as black conscious don't really like what I be saying because I go against the grain. But what they don't understand is that when you've been black conscious for 43 years and you've been watching people do the same thing for 43 years, you begin to say, this is not working. So everything that pro-black people have been teaching has been wrong. We have to scrap it and start over. It hasn't worked.
Hmm.
The Black Panthers were supposed to get on the police department.
Okay.
When you're driving down the street, who do you want to pull you over? A Ku Klux Klan or a Black Panther?
Black Panther for
They-
sure.
So we were supposed to get in the system. If you're a militant, you're supposed to run for mayor. You're supposed to. When I get pulled over by the police, I want it to be Sarah Suit said he pulled me over.
Hmm.
No Ku Klux Klan.
Right.
And so if it haven't worked in 40 years, if it haven't worked since the 60s, what make people think it's going to work now? Those ways are not going to work. We have to create jobs so we can hire our people. And we have to manufacture. If you look around your homes, everybody watching me, who made your refrigerator? Not you. Who made your stove? Not you. Who made your TV? Not you. Who made your cell phone? Not you. You didn't make black people, you didn't make nothing you got in your house.
Right.
They say, bro, open a barbershop. No. Okay, a barbershop's fine, but who's making the barber chair? Who's making the clippers? I'm saying we got to elevate. We got to make the clippers. We got to make the barber chair. We got to build the building that the barbershop is in.
So basically, all these things that you're mentioning, there is a huge deficit in creating those things, whether it's manufacturing or even administrating. Correct?
It's basically just the knowledge haven't been there. It's nothing wrong. It's just nobody have taught it yet.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
nothing wrong with black people. It's just nobody have taught it yet. Nobody have came to black people and say, look at the church. Let's do what the church is doing. What does the church do? They take collections and build mega churches. Okay, let's take donations and build factories. Real simple.
Mm-hmm.
It's 40 million black people. If everybody give $10, how much is that?
Yeah.
Take that, build one factory. Then
Yeah.
again, build a different factory.
Increases. Yeah. The
And now
increase.
you provide jobs.
Mm-hmm.
You provide jobs. How many jobs does Apple provide? They have the factory that makes it. They have the offices that design, where they make the design for all the Apple products. They have the outlet stores where they sell it. How many jobs is that? And when you go to the Apple store, you don't see all them white people in there getting money. They don't be having black people in there to wait on you like that. Maybe one or two tokens, but you can't be mad at white people. They're gonna hire white people.
Right.
We have to create jobs. We have to think bigger. We have to think corporate.
Now, the complaints that we get from a lot of our young folks is, okay, I went to school, I got some training, um, and so far I'm still, I know a lot of people. This is what they say. I
Mm-hmm.
know a lot of people that went to school, that got the training, and then a lot of them are still homeless, unemployed. Um, I mean, what do you say to them on that?
Right. Yeah, they homeless and unemployed because we ain't creating no jobs. Somebody got to hire you.
Okay, hope people are listening out there.
We got to stop sending our children to school to beg somebody else for a job.
Hmm.
You go to school, yeah, but you got to come out and beg somebody else for a job. We have to start to manufacture and stop trying to cut corners to get rich. We got to roll our sleeves up and make motorcycles, make cars, make stoves, ovens, televisions. I mean, we have black TV shows. I watch 50 Cent's TV shows, but I'm watching it on the Asian television.
Yeah.
Why don't we make the TV? It's not
So
that
I'm
people,
hearing a lot of. I'm sorry. Go
we
ahead.
have skills to do it,
Hmm.
but nobody has put this knowledge down. And black people are separated. White people are only united when they go to work in the morning. If you
Yeah.
want to see white unity, go on any major city on the freeway at 8 in the morning and you will see white unity.
Hmm.
Why a bunch of white people going to work? You think they're going to tell us that? Their main unity is going to work. Millions
Yes.
of white people go to work to get there at 9 in the morning. Millions.
Yes, sir.
They call it rush hour.
Yes, sir.
That's it. We have to manufacturing. How did we get conquered in Africa? Manufacturing, not with the Bible. The white man went to Europe, made the Gatling gun, made the bullets, made the pickup truck to put it on the back, and came and shot us.
Yeah.
The
That
military
took work.
manufacturing. You have to make the tank. You have to make the jet. You have to make the gun.
Right.
You can't go buy a gun from a white man and fight him.
Yes, sir.
You got to make your own.
And I've been saying for years, because when I first started teaching in the '90s,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of boomers took me under their wing, and
Mm-hmm.
some silent generation people that were retiring at the time.
Right.
And and I'm quite sure back in their day, when you did get the skills, a few people will hire you. But now the people that's doing the hiring are from other countries,
Right.
so they're bringing in their nephews, uh, sons, and all that. And if there's a space left, you may be lucky to get that one little slot.
Right.
So eventually, a few of us will come up with a way to get into HR, or even be into places where you be able to manufacture things that are high in demand,
Right.
and be in executive positions. That's all I've been pushing. Me and we got another content creator named BGS, and then the Black Brain Trust channel. We talk about that quite a bit, things on a larger scale. But again, brother Pharaoh, a lot of pushback on that. A lot of pushback.
Well, you can't really pay attention. See, this is the main problem with black people is they expect too much.
Hmm.
People really believe that we should accomplish more than we have, and we shouldn't have.
Hmm.
We are basically moving right on time. We're right on schedule. But black people don't understand that we've only been free since 1970.
Technically, yeah.
We haven't been free. People say, well, millennials should have passed down generational wealth. Bro, from where? From where? Are you kidding? But you don't know anything about baby boomers. Millennials say baby boomers should have passed down generational wealth. First off, baby boomers is a white man concept from 1946 to 1964. I'm born in 1958. Somebody in 1946 ain't nothing like me.
Right.
So those categories are not based on us being alike. It was just meant this is when a lot of people was born. But you can't say that somebody born in 1956 is the same as me. Also, you
Right.
can't expect if we didn't get free till 1970, what can we expect? So part of our problem is we're frustrated because we think we should be further than we should be instead of rolling up our sleeves and get to where we got to go now. Because
So,
we've been free since 1970. If we was free, Rosa Parks would have been able to sit anywhere she wanted to.
right. So where are they getting this concept from, Brother Pharaoh, as far as the older has not passed generational wealth to the millennials? I mean, we constantly hear this all the time.
They're looking at whites and they're not really educated, and nobody's talking to them because generational wealth is generational, meaning generations. And so, how do you expect one generation to have generational wealth? Generational white people have generational wealth, meaning from the 1700s. Do you really expect black people to have generational wealth from 1970? From where? It's just a misunderstanding, and the scholars is too busy talking about history and not breaking down these points so black people won't be so frustrated. The black people, we have been trying to put the younger generation in a position where they could create generational wealth. We're never in a position. My father was not in a position to create generational wealth. He was in a position to put his grandchildren in the position for generational wealth.
Hmm. That
And
is so.
if
Yeah.
you have generational wealth to whites, how could you have generational wealth like whites when they got Hershey, Ford, Chevy, Apple? How you gonna have generational wealth with a beauty shop? Seriously? So you compare yourself. Who you compare yourself to? Whites. Whites got corporations. Whites make jet planes. They got Lockheed. They got American Airlines, United Airlines.
Hmm.
So sure, they got generational wealth. Generational wealth comes from corporations.
Right.
If you don't have corporations, you're not going to ever have no. When white politicians come to these cities running for office, a main two words they say is job creation that you don't hear black people saying. We need to create jobs so we can hire our own people. It's really simple.
See, that's why I brought this brother here, you guys. This is exactly why, and it's inspiring me to move my pencil more, as you can see. Uh, this is Brother Pharaoh. Pharaoh says that. Please subscribe to his channel. Please hit the like button, share, and also hit that Cash App that you see up on the that's pinned up. This brother is giving you some mad, mad gems, and man, Brother Pharaoh, we usually go into this whole thing about generations, and believe it or not, we hear millennials, most of the millennials, they really have it out for the boomers or the whole people that we call boomers,
Mm-hmm.
and we try. I'm an Xer, but at the same time, I pretty much are in gratitude of what the boomers and silent generation has left behind for what they had to work with. Um, I guess I mean I already know the answer, but I know you're gonna set it up real good for us. But have are the boomers or even the silent generation more likely to say those were the good old days, but when they were younger?
No, you got to understand what they don't understand is the boomers couldn't really concentrate on generational wealth because we was Black Panthers and shit like that.
Hmm.
X was a boomer. What, you want Malcolm X to pass down generational wealth? He's dead.
Mm,
Fight for the rights to walk the streets. The boomers had to fight for your rights to walk around here. Okay? You wouldn't be able to even come outside. So it wasn't about money for my generation. It was about fighting so that you can even walk around. Like a lot of young people don't understand that. That the boys 2 or 3 years older than me made it so I could come outside. White used to take us home from school. It ain't been sweet. And
mm,
so the boomer generation was mostly Black power, civil rights, fight for your rights to even be able to even go to work. How
mm.
would they have generational wealth? But I
Wow.
find the millennials, they don't have nobody's given a good sense of recent history. All the history, we keep going all the way back to Kemet, all the way back to Israel. Nobody's really talks about the 50s and the 60s and the 70s in detail. All our history is too old. Like, who gives a damn what happened in Kemet?
Mm.
Like, what the hell? I don't care what happened in Kemet. Like, what? What is that going to do for us? Nothing.
Now the fact that the millennials have this, and we've heard it from 40 all the way down to even the 30s, with these
Mm-hmm.
guys having the same sentiment that you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just looking at the Generation Z, the generation after them. Do you think that this makes it bad for the Generation Z, or did this buy them time to even pick up the pieces and not repeat the same actions that millennials are taking towards the older generation?
I mean, I think millennials, they don't know any better. So I don't feel like they made a mistake. They don't really have the information. And so millennials are making a judgment based on how the world is today. Millennials are in the dark, so it's not their fault. Millennials don't know nothing about a rotary phone. Millennials don't know nothing about no voicemail, no camera on your phone. So they thinking from the point of view the way things are now. Millennials know nothing about what it was like in the 60s and 70s. They
Mm,
just guessing. So I can't be mad at them. How would they know? So they got magical ideas on what could have happened, but they wasn't here.
mm,
You couldn't even find a company back then like you can now. There was no Google. You couldn't find companies to do business with in another state.
mm,
Use a phone book to even find relatives. You had to go
mm,
to the pages. If you needed boxes, you had to get a business phone book, and you had to go to the phone company to get a business phone book. But you couldn't find nobody in California that could make boxes and bottles for you to go into business. How would you find that?
mm,
So only people that was in business could fly. They used to fly to find connections. The business people had money to go there to find it. But if you was coming up, how would you be a big businessman in the 70s like you are now? It's impossible.
mm. See, they don't want to hear that because it's too truthful, right?
I mean, they it ain't that they want to hear it. Once they hear it, they hear it. So once you hear it, I mean, you already heard it. So it don't make no sense to not want to hear it after you done heard it. You know?
Right? Because oh my god, they're
I
like, it's not supposed to rain, but it's raining.
Well, they don't know any better, so that's why a lot of them listen to me because I explain it. A lot of people watch for me to get a historical perspective.
Hmm.
I tell millennials like this: if I have a daughter and my daughter complains too much about what kind of father I was, and my daughter keeps complaining, and my daughter has some children, If my daughter keeps complaining about me too much, my daughter won't be a good mother herself.
Hmm.
So millennials got to better focus on what they got to do. They shouldn't be focusing on the people before them,
Yeah.
because when I came up, I couldn't complain about what my mother and them didn't do. Like that sounds stupid. Like mother and them came from Alabama. Limited education. Should I have complained? Y'all should have had more education. Y'all should have did more. No, it don't go like that. That each generation did the best they can do. So what black people got to understand, every generation we have had have always done the best they could do. Nobody has dropped the ball. That's all fantasy. Everybody has done well. For millennials, don't understand like me. I'm born in 1958. By the time I get in high school in 72, factories are closing. Ford is going under.
Mm.
People are losing jobs. If you go watch BMF, you'll see Big Meat start selling drugs because the factories was closing in Detroit. People did not have work.
Man, will I be able to get you back to go down the list a little bit about BMF, because that's a very important part of history.
Yeah, yeah, you get me back. So what a lot of people don't know is that for my generation, for me, I'm the booming baby boomers.
Hmm.
They talk about baby boomers. I'm the boom, meaning that a lot of people had children, but most black people all had a child born in 1958. So I'm the boom. When I went to when I went to kindergarten, there was 100 kids in the morning class and 100 kids in the evening class. They had to move us to the gym and have three teachers and split us up into three groups, and we would trade teachers in the gym until they built more schools. So I'm the boom in the baby boomers. Uh, some people would have a child older than me, but children older than me and one my age. Some people would have children and their child my age would be in the middle, and some people would have children and they would have a child. Their oldest child be my age, but everybody had a child my age. So we outnumbered everybody. And
Mm.
if you look at 1958, and if you look at the history of America, and you think about me born in 1958, name me any generation that went through that many changes. Just
I
look
can't.
at the phone. Look at 8-track tape, cassette tape, uh, 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 reel to reel. Look how much times the television changed. Look how the movies changed from VHS, laser disc. Just look at all the changes. Phones, Nextel, pagers. My generation have lived in the most changes ever in American history.
Yes,
Nothing really stayed the same for me,
right. Even parenting, right?
including parenting. Parenting changed too.
Wow.
You know, parenting changed, school changed, everything changed. Communication, transportation, everything.
Okay, so I'm gonna shift off, and you guys go ahead and hit that like button, please. Share, subscribe, subscribe to Brother Pharaoh's channel. Pharaoh says that. Hit that cash app on the top of the that's pinned up there. But man, what really touched me also, your friend that you mentioned, I used to have to pick him up from the airport out here in LA. You talked about Brother Mustafa Farrakhan.
Yeah, Mustafa.
Yeah, we had to pick him up. I was in the second car, and
Hmm.
then after we pick him up, we take him to eat, and he gets to talking. I was supposed to draw a picture of his family at the time. We're talking about, bro. We're talking about what, 92, I think,
Hmm.
93, and I never got a chance to do it. But the story that I got was that your take on the whole Malcolm thing about who did what and who, all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
And most of the people that I've spoken with about the Malcolm situation, it was like he can do no wrong, right? He could, the way he handled things.
Hmm.
And you're the only one I heard that really put it in that perspective as far as the time, during those times,
Hmm.
and how things were going as far as the things with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad being, in his situation with his wives, and how Malcolm was dealing with the media.
Hmm.
Um, could you go in a little bit with that? Because I think a lot of people definitely would need to hear this.
Yeah, well, Malcolm, the first thing is if you're two black men and you're enemies, you don't go to the white man. So Malcolm's first mistake was going to Mike Wallace and CBS running his mouth. Like you keep black stuff in house. Another thing is that the Nation of Islam didn't kill Malcolm. The Nation of Islam was infiltrated by the FBI and by police, and they killed him. But when you argue amongst each other, you set yourself up to be killed. Not only did they kill Malcolm, but they killed Pinto over in Africa right at when they killed Malcolm. They killed the person that Malcolm was in Africa with. So it was definitely a hit from the government. And Malcolm just made a terrible mistake and went public and let Elijah's son trick him out of his position, basically. Wallace Dean, the one told Malcolm all of that. And then when they summoned Wallace Dean in, he said he didn't tell Malcolm none of that.
Oh man.
Yeah. So he went for the sucker move. Like, he shouldn't have never said nothing. He should have kept his mouth shut. And people gonna say he shouldn't have, but he's dead. So how could you say he was right? If you make a move and you end up dead, obviously you made the wrong move somewhere. So
Mm.
he's up where the government can kill him. You know, same thing that Sarah Sudan Seti and young Pharaoh did by going at the Nation of Islam publicly. They set themselves up where they could be killed by a third party.
Yeah, they dodged a bullet.
So, well, not necessarily.
Uh oh.
See what I'm saying? So, what you don't want to do as black people, you don't want to get out here publicly arguing because then a third party could use that argument to say that one of y'all killed each other. So we have to avoid that. But for black people to be emotionally in that, something that's been over, is ridiculous. Let Malcolm rest in peace. Let Elijah rest in peace, and let's move on. I don't see why it's even, to me, it's not even important. It's not important. It's just another way for us to choose sides again and stay further divided.
But you made a real good point, because I did the same thing before I even got in the nation. I looked past the fact that Malcolm was using the media to give messages against the organization that he was a part of. I looked past that as well.
Yeah. He let Mike Wallace, when he came from Africa, Mike Wallace ran up on him and said, "When you went to Mecca, did you see any white people?" Malcolm is a revolutionary. He should have known that was a setup. Why is this white man asking me that? Because the white man knows that Elijah said no white men in Mecca. So he's going to come to you to get you to contradict your teacher. But the question is, does Mike Wallace love you? No. That's the big thing. Is the guy that you're talking to, do they love you? If somebody do me wrong, should I run to somebody else that hate me with the problem? No.
Mm.
So he ran to them white people like they love him. It's
And I,
like,
t- I talked to Dr. James Smalls, and we talked about that stamp of Malcolm that came out there. He said he considered that mockery of his legacy.
that what of Malcolm that came out?
The postage stamp
Oh, right.
from the U.S. government, I believe, the U.S. Postal Company or what have you.
Well,
Uh,
I don't know how Smalls could say that when Malcolm was kicking it with the white boys, telling all Nation of Islam business. He is an American stat. That ain't no revolutionary. Malcolm didn't go out like no revolutionary. Malcolm went out like a sucker. Wasn't nothing revolutionary about talking to CBS.
mm.
How's that revolution? You the same ones calling them white dogs.
Yeah, that is interesting, because I think a year or two before he was out of the nation, he has a whole lecture about what the media does
Right.
when they turn your words into something else.
Right. He just got caught up, man. He got caught up. And what I don't like about black people when it comes to Malcolm and King, we keep talking about Malcolm and King. Don't nobody talk about their children. Like them men left babies behind. They sacrificed their life for nothing. Who took care of Malcolm's daughters? And
They
so we
went,
selfish that we want to claim Malcolm over his daughters claim him. I say that Malcolm should have never gave his life for black people. He should have been there for his children.
and we're I know we I mean I don't have a crystal ball or anything, but if Malcolm would have survived, or if they shot him in the wrong area where he'd be able to survive, what do you think he would be doing? Like years later, you think he'd be in politics? Or you think he'll where do you think he would be?
I mean, if they didn't kill Malcolm, it's really hard to say if he would have stopped. If he would have continued, he would have still got killed anyway. Look at Tupac. Tupac kept on tripping and got shot again. So there's no guarantee Malcolm wouldn't have got shot again. Malcolm played it wrong. And the main thing that was wrong with Malcolm X is he didn't have another Malcolm X as the number two man. And this is what I try to teach young black people. You have to have a number two that's just as strong as you. Anytime you're a leader like that, you have to have another leader with you. You can't have a follower with you. So Malcolm was so strong, he didn't have another leader with him. Because if I would have been Malcolm, I would have told him, shut the fuck up. I'd be like, dude, shut the fuck up. Let's go
Mm,
holler at the old man. I told him straight up, bro, shut the fuck up. Like, leave Elijah's name out your mouth, bro. Go apologize to Elijah and break away quietly with grace and do your own thing. Like he could have just broke away quietly. He didn't
yeah,
have he didn't have to do it like that.
and I still ask people to this day, and they can't give me a straight answer. I'm talking about the ones that say Malcolm can do no wrong. I still ask people, what did he have to gain on that whole "chicken come home to roost" comment when the
Well,
whole nation?
listen, the chicken come home to roost was not Malcolm's fault. Elijah sent a message to Mosque number 7 not to speak against Kennedy. It's police at informants at Mosque number 7. They never told Malcolm.
Ah,
Malcolm
okay,
knew the message from Elijah. They set Malcolm up. Malcolm never knew that Elijah said don't speak on it. That's a fact.
wow.
He
Now
never
that part I didn't know.
he never knew.
I did
So
not know.
he didn't know. Now, he wasn't no good soldier because when your leader sit you down, just sit the fuck down. Period. Nobody told him to follow Elijah. He followed Elijah on his own. Okay, if Elijah say shut up and sit down, then be a good soldier, shut up and sit down. But you
Right.
can't follow a dude and then turn around and don't want to listen to him. Nobody told you to follow dude. You followed him. So you have some responsibility as a soldier to take whatever punishment your leader dish out. But that's all
Yeah.
bullshit anyway. Malcolm was mad because Elijah was messing with Malcolm's old girlfriend, and
Yeah.
Malcolm married the girl. Malcolm married Betty.
Eddie.
Elijah was fucking with the girl, and that's what that was all about. All the other shit's bullshit.
A lot of people didn't know that story either. Right. I
Right.
forgot her name. They should. Farrakhan brought her out what in '93 at the Savior's Day.
Right.
Um, yeah,
That was
but yeah,
his girlfriend. Yeah.
yeah. I remember. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that though. And then when we try to explain it to them, they're like, no, no," it's like you said, it's that emotional thing. You
When
know, but
black people pro Malcolm, them niggas ain't gonna bust a grape. They ain't no revolutionary. So all that you down with Malcolm, I don't believe it. Because if you down with Malcolm, where you at?
right.
I don't, now you can't tell me you down with Malcolm. I don't see you out there talking about nothing or doing nothing. You fake, you fake Malcolm. Get out of here, bro. You ain't. Malcolm X, you ain't gonna do shit. You know, you ain't gonna kill none. You ain't gonna let none die. All them Malcolm fans is fake as hell.
Yeah, I
They
found that out.
do nothing. They're not gonna do nothing. They just, oh, I love Malcolm. That's just some stuff to say to make yourself look like you're a revolutionary.
That's right. You guys out there, please hit that like button. Yeah, I've been challenged to walk his shoes back in the day because they were saying that you don't know what he went through unless you went through his training.
Right.
And it was me and another brother that heard this, but everybody else went their separate ways. And I think, like you said, a lot of people just they'll big up somebody, but they don't want to walk their shoes.
Well, Malcolm was in a hell of a situation. He was loved by Elijah, and many people say he treated Malcolm better than his own son. So he had the
True.
jealousy of Elijah's sons. He was, when you're really great like that, you're gonna have haters. And so
Hmm.
they hated Malcolm because he was next in line over the sons.
Yep.
So he was in a bad situation. He didn't have nobody with him to help guide him. He had to make all his decisions on his own. Usually, when you radical or you out there, you can't find a number two man. And so it was just all unfortunate. It's something that black people should be. It was just a total unfortunate situation for Farrakhan, Khalid, Elijah, and Malcolm. But no matter what nobody say, if you look at Elijah, Malcolm, Farrakhan, and Khalid, the Nation of Islam put out four of the greatest revolutionaries ever. So you got to give them their credit.
Yeah.
We should be pissed that all four of them wasn't still working together.
Yeah. That's where I'm at.
Well, imagine that. Imagine if they was all together. Imagine how that would have went.
Yeah. They would. The I don't even know if the government would have. They probably would have blew a whole city up just to get them.
Well, Malcolm and Malcolm's security, Malcolm's bodyguard was a NYD, a New York police officer that was so deep undercover, even the police didn't know he was a police officer.
Isn't that something?
And when they shot Malcolm, they shot him from the back upstairs down through the front. And the security guard, that's the police, went and gave Malcolm mouth to mouth to make sure he died. Because anybody know, if I got holes in my chest and my lungs, you don't give me mouth to mouth. So the bodyguard finished Malcolm off.
Yeah, they wanted him dead for sure.
Yeah, because he went to Africa hanging with revolutionaries and all that. He was doing too much. He
Yeah,
was doing much, and he had made enemies. And for young black people, watch me, don't get caught up in that. Just know, don't get out here making enemies because a third party could kill you. You setting yourself up for a third party to come in and kill you. If I'm arguing with a brother, we going back and forth. Somebody could kill the brother, then they're gonna blame me, and the person that did it gonna get away.
that's right.
So that's the lesson to be learned. He set himself up to be killed by the FBI. Everybody know they got sense that the feds killed him.
That's the part that made me upset with him is that the fact that he could have been in a better situation. Because he's gonna make mistakes. I know that, but I mean, he shouldn't have. He should. I'm still trying to figure out why did he take away the check posts.
Because
In this situation.
he was ready to die.
Okay, so it's like almost damn near like suicide. Then.
He was ready to die. Once they took the house from him and he went with all them brothers to court and the Nation of Islam showed up and all them brothers left him there. And he seen that, he didn't have nobody on his side. He was through. He was ready to die.
Man,
Yeah, he messed up. He messed up like he made a mistake that could never be erased. He didn't put this man Elijah business out here in the white media. The white media hate both of y'all. The white media take it and blast it everywhere. You got to look at who you're talking to. If a black man's my enemy, I don't go to a white enemy against a black brother.
right,
Media hyped it up, made it worse.
right.
They made it worse. And then he lost all his revolutionary points. When real revolutionaries like me seen him talking with a CBS mic, we was done with dude. I don't really fuck with Malcolm like that. He went out like a sucker. Bro,
Yeah,
why sit down? Why is you talking to CBS, bro?
yeah, that was huge. I just couldn't, man. But
He
I'm gonna
had
move.
off the cliff. He let the sons, he let people send him off. Like they sent them off. They was scared of him. They was more scared of him than Elijah. And he went for it. What young people got to understand is they so busy trying to defend him, but Malcolm would want you to learn from their mistakes. Malcolm would not want you, Malcolm would want you to listen to me. Other than that, he did all that for nothing if you ain't gonna learn from it. Like we need to learn from that. Malcolm, the type of person that would want us to tell it just like this to learn from it,
Yes, sir.
not go make the same mistake. Malcolm would never do that over again if he had a do over. No,
That's what I was getting at. That's exactly what I was getting at.
he would never do that again. He put his family in danger and everybody. They could have killed all his kids.
Yep, that was huge. And
Yeah,
one day, I want to do a panel discussion on Imam Warfuddin 75.
okay.
That is a huge thing that people don't talk about enough, because we always talk about how the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan brought the nation back up in what 80, 80, 81,
Yeah.
but into the part on how it failed enough, and who did it. Who sold all the proceeds and things from that the nation has generated over the years, and
The,
how did it fall?
the person that told Malcolm his business. Exactly.
Right, right.
That's
I
the
mean,
one that that's the one told you that. And Malcolm should have peeped. If I would have been around, I'd say, man, this dude gonna tell you foul shit about his own daddy. Malcolm
yeah,
would have been right, Pharaoh.
yeah.
This dude talk about his own daddy. He wants you to go put it public. Why did his son didn't make it public? Why he want you to do it, Malcolm? I
And
would
my
have told him, shut the fuck up. We ain't seen nothing. We ain't heard nothing.
and my father-in-law said that when Imam Warfuddin was arrested,
Right.
and for some reason, Honorable Elijah Muhammad left him there for a while, and they believe that when he came out, he never
Mhm.
was the same.
Well, he had mental problems his whole life.
Yeah,
He had something was wrong with him.
yeah, that was quite interesting.
But he was Elijah's son, but he always had mental problems.
I said, "Wow."
Yeah,
And
he,
we don't
he
we
always
don't
had
hear about any of his sons or daughters from Sister Clara, doing things today. We only hear about the women that Malcolm talk about.
right.
Pretty interesting. Um, and you did another one about, I think some people were trying to put out this whole thing about the black woman is God,
Right.
and some people try to make sense of it, try to break it down, and then there was pushback, and then there was people making money from it.
Right.
What was behind that in the first place? Why did it take so much get so much traction?
Well, back in the uh, late 70s, starting in like the late 70s, as black people started getting into Kemet and stuff like that, black people was real reactionary against Christianity because black people thought that Christianity was the white man's religion.
Hmm.
Black people didn't really have knowledge of the true Christianity, how it was black. So a part of being pro-black was to reject Christianity. In the process of rejecting Christianity, you're gonna go against everything they say. So if their God is a man, yours gonna be a woman. And so most of the misteachings that's been going on within the conscious community is based off of the uh, inferiority complex, thinking that Christianity is the white man's religion. And so when you become emotional like that, you can't learn. So many of these scholars have become emotional based on that. So they couldn't really learn. I was young, so I was able to escape the emotions. So I was able to see that the Ten Commandments does not come from the laws of Mayat and nonsense.
Hmm.
And so most of them is just a reactionary uh, that they gonna say, well, the black woman is God, and that uh, white Christianity is male oriented, so black people must have been female oriented, basically.
Mm.
So they
Yeah,
come.
and I noticed also that the pushback that we kept hearing was that, for example, they say like Boonquisha selling her stuff on the street. Is she God? That kind of thing. There was always that kind of
Yeah, that's
lowering.
it. The whole concept is that what they don't understand is that if the black woman was God, there would be no such word as God is.
Right,
Black woman is God is,
right,
and is God. You have God and God is, and the Most High is a duality. It's
right.
not singular. And if you look in the early scriptures, it say, "Let us make man in our image, male and female."
Hmm.
It does not say male, and so everything is a duality. Without you got to have a mother and a father, or you ain't even born.
That's right.
So you can't have a father or a mother. You have to have them both. It's a duality. And so uh, if they said the opposite of the white man is the white man say God is a man. So
Hmm.
the opposite is God is a woman. But the opposite of the white man being a male is not man, is not God being a woman. The opposite, if he say God is a man, the opposite of that, if he's saying one person is God, the true opposite of that is two people are God.
Hmm.
Is the true opposite, not picking another one person.
Right.
Because you see what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
the white man took, because in England they was abusing women, so they took God's wife out the Bible.
Hmm.
Still in there in a couple places. So they removed the wife and they start calling it the Holy Ghost. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Well, we know it's the Father, the Mother, and the Son.
Hmm.
But
Sun,
the
moon, and stars. Right.
Holy Ghost.
Right.
But King Henry and King James and them, they wanted to abuse women, so they took the female out of it and made it.
Yes. Yeah. That's something that I haven't heard it as much I've heard before, but it's still out there lingering. Because some people are still buying into it.
I don't know where they grew up at because I grew up with a mother and a father, and definitely my daddy was God. there's, there's no doubt about who God was. There's no doubt about that.
Right.
But there's a disrespect for the penis and the black man sexual organs in America. Uh, uh,
Hmm.
the vagina and the woman is held up over the man, and
Yeah.
in this demonic world we in. And I'm fighting against that too because I'm saying that the dick is way more valuable than the vagina by far.
That's the seed. The
Yeah, the one that actually do the work. When you have sex, who's doing all the gyrating and all the work? She ain't doing nothing.
Yeah,
I'm
brother needs some rest afterwards, huh?
doing all the work. So the planting of the seed is not respected.
Mm. And going into that, we talking about the black family. You went into everything. Almost all every question I mentioned is based on some of the stuff that you covered in your live
Hold on
streams.
one second. Hold on one second. I'll be right back. Hold on.
Okay, not a problem. So while he's away, you guys, please hit that like button, share, subscribe. Uh, I'm bringing you guys a good treat here. This is some wisdom that we're bringing along with the other stuff we have, but we gotta start bringing in as much information and wisdom as possible so that when it's time to pass down this kind of information, it won't be such a chore. It'll be something where you can just click on a button and say, hey, I can get this information or get that information, because a lot of stuff that we talk about, it's only a few of us that really have somewhat of a background, but it's always good and it's always a blessing to bring brothers like Pharaoh in here and give us that work. I mean, he really gives you that work, and and great to have you back, brother Pharaoh.
Right,
So you mentioned the black family and
right,
what men do and what women do and where we lost our way, right?
right.
And I think you were getting into gender roles, whether it's the man doing all the decision making or the 50-50 of today, which is the more popular sentiment of roles these days. But what is your take on gender roles and I guess the black family today?
Well, the black family traditionally, the mother did everything inside the home. Like inside the home, the woman was basically the supervisor, the boss inside of the home.
Hmm.
Growing up in a black family, you had two zones of protection. You had the goddess maintaining inside the household, and the God always represent your relationship outside of the household.
Hmm.
So the man is basically security, make sure all the doors is locked, everything is safe, that the outside of the home and your relationship with the outside world. Your mother deals with the relationship inside of the home,
Hmm.
have a role to play, you know. But the man's role is the role with the outside world,
Hmm.
role inside of the house.
Hmm.
Most men don't really care about inside of the house like that. Like not no man like my daddy don't care what my mama like what she want to decorate or none of that. He don't care. Like I never know my dad to care. Like if she want a blue couch, fine. She want paint that blue. He don't care. My daddy only care about making sure nobody don't hurt the family and stuff like that. So the roles are inner, outer, two different roles.
Hmm.
Not they clash with inside of the house because your mother does a lot of the management for your father, helping with his clothes, with his food, cleaning things, straightening things out. Father does all the providing to make sure everything is safe within them confines. So I don't know what they're doing nowadays, but nowadays a lot of them is gay, so I can't listen to them.
Mm.
The young generation can't tell me nothing. They LGBTQ. They got to shut the fuck up. Like
Mm.
nobody's y'all. Y'all niggas is gay. Y'all just shut the fuck up.
I call them legibits, but
Something like that, but that's a position to talk about no families.
yeah, that's something that because we have these conversations every now and then in this space, and there's some people that have gave in to this whole thing where I'm going to do 50-50, you do your half, I do mine, and there are some people that say, hey, I want to do all the stuff that brother Pharaoh mentioned, but we just don't have the right women to fill the slot. um and I'm just like, how, I don't even have much to say when it comes to any kind of solutions of what dudes should do on having a decent family, except just earn, at least be a resource.
Well, what black people got to understand is you can't create, you can't go out and marry a good woman. You have to raise a good wife.
Mm,
So your daughters got to be good wives for the
mm,
next. And so we got it all backwards. Women want to find a good man. You can't find a good man. You have to raise a good man
mm-hmm,
so that my daughter can have a good man. Sometimes you have to scratch yourself for the future. So the problem with black people is, like you'll see a lot of women say they don't like men to run around. They don't like men being with other women. Then these same women brag because their son got 5 girlfriends. Wait a minute. Now you raising somebody that's not going to be no good for my daughter. So we need to concentrate on raising strong men and women. And then men have to be strong and put women in their place. She can't fight, so she have to shut the fuck up. She can't fight. Like she can't fight. She not no shooter. She not no fighter. How? Please, let's give it a break. You want you like they say, a man should never hit a woman.
Right.
That means I'm dominant. If I can't
Right.
put a titty, I'm dominant. You said I can't hit you. That means I'm dominant.
Right.
I mean, let's just be real. That means I'm the dominant. I'm too strong to hit you. All right, then. I'm the strongest. You can't have it both ways. You can't
Right.
say I'm trying to hit you and then talk to me as if you want me to hit you. I never seen my mother say certain stuff to my father, talk to him all crazy or not like that, call my daddy out his name. I never seen that.
Mm.
Never. I never seen my mother and father call each other out their name. I never seen my mother call my father all out his name. Never.
In
And
my situation, I had my dad was a my dad's a Scorpion, my mom was a Taurus. You can imagine them fights.
I never seen my father. I could never see my father get upset about nothing my mother was upset about.
Yeah,
No matter how upset my mother get, my father be like, "Oh, come on, Bessie, please."
man, I wish my dad was like that.
He was back. See, no, he didn't do that. He was always cool and kind and let her, whatever, she's a woman. Let her get off. Let her, whatever.
Yeah, I've heard stories. I mean, plenty of stories like that where the both people knew their place, even if there were conflict, they did it within their area, their lane.
Yeah, well, men, my father taught me, men, we don't really get into all that. We don't really care about that kind of stuff. We have bigger issues, pay the bills. Like a man is always concentrating on the survival. And so a lot of times I've had trouble with women because they get off track. And I'm still concentrating on the mortgage. I'm still concentrating on the car notes. I don't really got time. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not going to be homeless with you talking about I love you. So I don't know. So a man's supposed to stay focused on the survival of the family.
Yeah.
We can't get caught up in the pettiness. And women really don't understand survival, like I'm sure a lot of women in the Ukraine are finding out.
Mm,
You see, that women, it's how many women in the Ukraine didn't understand how vulnerable they was without their men.
right.
Now, I don't see the women out there fighting. I ran, got on trains, got the hell out of there.
Sure did. They
Stay in
put
your right, stay in your place because you're not gonna get in the war. You don't want to get shot in your titty. So shut up.
that's right.
Hey, be a woman. I don't want my daughters being like my sons. No.
That's right. And like you said, I think there's a lot of things that's going on in the world, and we're taking the wrong things away from it as lessons, where everybody else is taking it, and you can probably even going further ahead of us, which
Right.
is kind of sad.
Right. It's the black man have to be dominant. But the reason the black man's not dominant because he don't get along with the black man. In order for the black man to have a strong family, in order for the black man to have a strong race, the black man has to learn to get along with the black man. But the
Yeah.
black wants to sleep with the other black man's woman.
Mm,
So how are you going to dominate in society? Like, brother, if I come to your house, I do not want to sleep with your wife. That's gross. Like, me?
yeah, we got it bad on that dirty macking. It's
Okay. Then what's going to make your woman respect you when you move like that?
yeah,
So when these men are running around sleeping with another man's woman, he's actually teaching a woman not to respect the man because you don't respect the man. What's going to make her respect? What's going to make my woman respect me if I'm disrespecting the other black brother?
that's facts. Some
You understand?
facts.
And so everything we got to fix in the black community starts with the man. I can't put the man in a dominant position and not put all the blame on him.
Yeah,
He
That's on
died,
his shoulders.
so everything that's wrong is his fault. Everything that's wrong in the black community is the black man's fault.
Mm.
It's
So
not.
let me get into the part about and I think this should probably be the last. How we doing on time?
We do a couple more questions then.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And those people out here, please hit that like button. Please hit that like button, share, subscribe to Brother Pharaoh's channel. Hit the Cash App that's pinned up there. That's his Cash App, um, and contribute. And one of the things that I constantly hold dear to my heart as far as the topic is the conscious community that we call the conscious community.
Right,
You know, and the conscious community of the 70s and 80s is way, way different than what I see today. Maybe from my viewpoint.
right,
Would you be able to, and I'll just lay it out here. So back then, we used to flood these lectures of John Henry Clark to Runoko Rashidi to Dr. Francis Wellesley. We bought the books. We met together.
right,
Hell, we were embarrassed if we didn't know certain things.
right.
Right? Today, it seemed like it's a little bit different. Could you go into that as far as what you see?
Well, the conscious community today is bootleg because there's no such thing as consciousness without self improvement. All
Right.
consciousness starts with self improvement, and so that's why they're a little whack because it starts with self improvement. Back in the late 70s, 80s, when I moved around, brothers would check you if they see you eating the wrong thing. Like,
Right.
bro, that got mucus in it.
Yep.
Like just like that. And it was all about self improvement. So you couldn't even call yourself conscious if you didn't eat right. And so the main thing, they can now be eating Cheetos or whatever and rattle off some black stuff and say they're conscious. But consciousness means awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And consciousness, the black consciousness, comes from the original black consciousness from Steve Biko. Steve
Mm-hmm.
Biko coined the phrase black consciousness. Black consciousness means you consciousness of the situations of black people in Africa and black people around the world. Consciousness means that you're aware on a different level. You have like a holistic approach to awareness. You eat right, you know about economics, family, uh, uh, how you carry yourself, your hair, the whole nine yards, your skin color, all of that was a consciousness. Well, now consciousness is just you could just pair it with somebody else say, and you're conscious.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have to really be about nothing. You could just pick a fake name, yourself something, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Because in my generation, I came up where we seen Muhammad Ali really get rid of his slave name. We seen Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. We seen brothers really change their name. Malcolm and these brothers. His name wasn't Malcolm Little no more. And so for us now, people just, I don't know, they just have watered it down to just something to say. And it's a fad, and it's always been a fad. Even in the 80s, in the 70s and 80s, out of the 100% of conscious people, only 25% was real.
Mm.
Other 75% was frauds.
Right.
And so after so many years, you only gonna end up with 25%. Like since I've been doing this, a lot of people that was doing this with me, they not that no more.
Mm-hmm.
They've been turned back regular.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. At first it starts out you with a brother and you see him and he's a Hebrew brother. Then 3 years later you see him, he got a different name. He's a Muslim. You're like, what the hell? Bro, argue with me for a whole 2, 3 hours about Israel, and now you're Muslim.
Yeah.
Bro, all that arguing you did 2 years ago was all bullshit, huh? And so next time you see him, he just regular and got a job and he not nothing no more. And so you got that right now. The new end thing to be woke conscious. It's a way on social media to get attention. If you can't get no attention as a regular black, you start saying some type of woke stuff, maybe you'll get some likes and some views. So it's like the new end thing to be woke.
So
It's
you
not
think the social media kind of ruined the whole concept of having a conscious group or community?
I don't think it ruined it. I just think it's changing everything because I think that what we was doing as a conscious community, I think also had flaws and weaknesses to it. And after doing that so many years, a lot of conscious people don't like me because I'm saying we've done that. It's time to change. You can't just keep talking about going back to Africa and never go.
Yeah.
And it get to the point where now you can look at Africa and see you don't have the military to even go over there and do nothing. Now we know about the mining, we know about the diamonds, we know about the cobalt, and we know we're not qualified to go there to control the natural resources. So how can we keep talking like we used to talk when we didn't have this knowledge? It's time to upgrade our knowledge.
Mm.
We cannot go and sit on Africa and sit on all that wealth without no military to defend ourselves. We just like sitting ducks. People going to come in and steal that and to kill anybody that they got to kill to take it. And so we haven't elevated the conscious community, never elevated their teachers, never looked at their teachers and said, okay, we did this for 25 years and this did not work. We have to adjust our teachings.
Hmm.
Just keep teaching the same thing. You know, I know so many rosters still talk about how can they sing King Alpha's song in a strange land. I'm like,
Hmm.
for a good ass job. That's all the fuck you do is sing King Alpha's song in a strange land. You've
Right.
been singing King Alpha's song. How long you gonna sing reggae talking about go back to Africa? How long you gonna be in LA talking about going back to Africa? I know brothers I've been seeing singing for 30 years talking about going back to Africa. And the nigga's still in LA going back to Africa. 30 years. So we have
Right.
to take our knowledge. And so now when I'm telling black people, all that's over with. We need to get into manufacturing.
Mm.
We need to eat better and we need to get in manufacturing. We need to start creating some of these things. Black people should have been had an automobile. Every
Yeah.
time they say we had a car once before, we ain't got no car now though. We
Right.
we don't. Why we are not manufacturing a car? Why can't I buy our car? Why do I have to drive a German car or a British car or American car or Asian car? If you look, cars in America, white and Asian, gaming systems, white and Asian, phone, Android or iPhone, white or Asian. Where's the black one?
Yeah. Yeah. We don't. I think even Dr. Khalid said that we're so behind we don't even have toilet paper. That's what he used to say back in the '90s.
All right, so brothers got some toilet paper, but we gonna get there. We gonna get to the point where we are manufacturing. But like I always say, we've only been free for 50 years, so we can't get frustrated. You know, frustrated. Now we got the internet, and the internet we need to use it for our benefit. The internet's allowing us to talk to each other from long distances, which we could be using to create corporations. Because now we can have group meetings all across the country. Now, for example, if everybody on here, let's say it's 300 people watching us, we can
Hmm.
all come out, we can have meetings, we can come out with a label for some lemonade. Then we can bottle this lemonade, and all three of us got this lemonade, which means immediately the lemonade is in 300 places. If we all advertise this lemonade, immediately this lemonade is big immediately because you got 300 black people in 300 different places advertising it. So the company is going to be a multi-million-dollar company right away. quicker than if I just got the lemonade by myself.
Right.
We have the availability to get together on social media and come out with a product and drop it all over social media
Pretty fast too.
real fast.
Hmm.
And we all got shares in it. And we learn how to be fair and learn how to do good business and learn how not to cheat each other and learn how to take care of business and be on time. And when I start, the main difference, the reason I'm different is because I didn't want to cut my dreadlocks in 79. Nobody would hire me. So I had to work for myself. So I was always a little different than some of the other people because I had to figure out a way to work consciously for myself. So I was always isolated from the ones having fun all the time. When I went to Leimert Park to an event, I was there working. I wasn't one of the people walking around with African clothes on. I was the one selling stuff. I was at work. And so I developed a work mentality to do for self what Elijah was trying to tell us.
Hmm.
We have to take that and take the internet and we have to become manufacturers. There's no hope for Black people if we don't go corporate and go into huge manufacturing so we could create jobs so our children can come and get a job from us instead of going begging somebody else for a job. It don't make no sense we still doing that in 2022.
Yes, sir. Man. And would you like to receive some questions or what have you from the chat, or would you like somebody to come up one by one,
Yeah,
ask your question or so?
yeah, I'll take some questions, no problem.
Okay. So we'll give it a little minute, and I'll put the link in the chat and see if anybody wants to ask some questions. And please subscribe to Brother Pharaoh's channel. It's called Pharaoh Said That. The link is either in the chat or in the description box. Please hit that Cash App button and donate and give a love donation to this brother. I'm looking forward to doing some things with this brother if he allows me in the future. Um,
This brother's gonna draw my book cover for my life story. So it's gonna be real interesting because he's definitely super talented.
Thank you, sir. And so I want to definitely keep this brother in rotation. Cause good lord, and I know he's not the only one around here, but brothers like this need to be in rotation, like we said, and man, it's been quite an honor to have you up here, brother Pharaoh. Um, I think I bought, man, my hat. I can't describe the hat, but I think I bought a hat from you, brother Pharaoh.
Probably.
It's the hat that you keep your dreads in,
Yeah,
and it had the green and it has green and red stripes.
yeah, yeah. I used to sell that kind of stuff. I sold Bobby Brown his hat. I sold a lot of the hats to the KRS ones. I sold them a lot of the medallions and stuff that they used to wear. A lot of these, we used to sell these.
Oh, I missed those.
And this one you could put your money in the back. We used to sell because I had to work for myself, so I developed a do for self mentality. Also, in those days, we all got along. We would go out to an event, be brothers there from the Nation of Islam. Assalamu alaikum, brothers. Shalom, sister. Alafiyah, brother. We really did not debate ideologies back in the
Yeah,
like.
I tell people that all the time. They look at me sideways. I'm like, no, we weren't really beefing.
No, we didn't debate ideologies. The brother ideology is the brother ideology. It ain't none of my business to speak on this brother's religion or ideology. That's out of order.
Yes,
And
I ate I ate Hebrew Israelite food. Hung out with the Moorish Science Temple brothers.
yeah, we
Uh,
heard about it. And also, whoever had the floor had the floor. So if we came out somewhere and you was speaking and I was there, I would never go against you. Every time you say something I agree with, I'd be like, "Yep, that's right. Yep, that's right," and that's it. I wouldn't question you in front of the audience. We didn't
yeah,
do. You go out and the brother from the Nation is not speaking. We all just support what the brother's saying. We don't try to challenge the brother. Like we didn't do that. That's weirdo shit. Like, why is you trying to challenge the brother? Let the brother got the floor.
yeah. And then the Rastafari speak. I mean, everyone. We
Whoever got the floor, and we never challenged each other. You never seen a debate between Muslims and Rastas or Rastas and Hebrews. Never, never. You never seen us out in front of the other black people making fools of ourselves in front of the other brothers and sisters. We
Well,
always,
why do you think it got to that?
because of the internet, they got on the internet. So once they got on the internet, then they start pushing debates. They start pushing these debates on Songwriter TV, and the debates was good, but the bad thing is Songwriter didn't have rules, and so to get more views, they let the debates keep going after the debate is over. Also, if a Hebrew and a Muslim get to debate, that go on for months and months and months. They keep arguing over instead of it being over.
Right,
Also, part of the debate should have always been at the end. The two debaters should have to end it on a positive note of unity.
right,
They should have always been able to show how they could work together at the end of every debate. You got a responsibility to bring the people back together.
right.
Muslim, I want to say the Muslim lost, and I'm a Hebrew. I don't want to say the Hebrew lost. So that's just going to be forever division. So it wasn't handled correctly. It was handled in a way to cause division and arguments for the sake of views. Black people doing stupid stuff to get views and likes.
Yeah,
All sisters naked shaking their booties for views. Man, I
yeah,
get many sisters with their butt out for views.
yeah. Oh man, I felt bad for some of I mean how the outcome of some of those debates that he put together. I kind of like what he was, I guess, what he put together, but as far as the outcome and trying to brag about who did what and showmanship, it just took away from the scholarship of what these people were behind.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was sad to see.
not to be a clown show. It was just too negative, and nobody learned nothing because you know if I'm a Muslim, I'm going to agree with the Muslim. So I mean, it's ridiculous to think I'm not. I mean, where are we going with this? Like nobody's going to change their views like that. So black people love to debate their differences instead of concentrate on the economical situation that we have to face.
Wow.
You
I
know,
heard.
we get off to social media, we got to go back and pay these bills, and we got to be up under these people.
Now I
I,
hope people learn from that statement. Any closing remarks you want to give us, and anything that you want to promote? Uh,
yeah, definitely eat better. Go to my website, www.veganintel.com, and get the easiest way to become a vegan. Make sure you eat better because one thing is for sure the number one thing that's killing us is food. We don't need the white man to kill us. We number one in heart disease, number one in diabetes. We get the most amputation. A person's getting an amputation every 30 seconds, right? Somebody's losing a leg or a foot. We're having strokes, kidney failure. Black people has got mad diabetes. Black people are on dialysis. So we basically committed suicide and genocide. So we have to get off this food, stop eating all this meat, this dairy, artificial flavors, artificial colorants, preservatives. We have to really look at the self destruction that we are putting on ourselves. The number one issue in the black community is what we consume. That's bigger than the gangs, the violence, economics, and everything.
yes, sir. Um, but I appreciate you coming through. And again, everyone, even after this live, please just hit the like button if you haven't while we are live. Also, hit the Cash App that's up there at the pin up part, and look in the description of all the different ways to be able to keep in the loop of what Pharaoh said that is doing. He's constantly putting information out there as live streams. Subscribe to his channel, And man, I appreciate you being here. And you know, God willing, we'll be able to do more projects and whatever you need. Just let me know because
Sure, brother. You just, if you get some more questions, we'll set up and do it again. And to all y'all out there that's in relationship and shit, stay together for the children. Be good mothers and fathers. Stop running to the clubs and all that, and be good mothers and fathers and be there for your children. Y'all stay up. One.
okay. Peace and hair.